me, how's it hanging? How's it happen? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. The podcast So Magazine describes as the one that initiates profound discussions with rock and metal artists and live bands to discover the creative workflow of different musicians and understand the factors that make the band succeed or fall from fame. We are also sponsored by Dark Fusion Systems, the best your custom computing needs. Get $100 off your entire business code CPPod at darkfusionsystems.com. Links in the description of the podcast below. Go to the folks at millionpodcast.com. They have a bunch of lists ranking different podcasts on different categories. For music, we're on 2. When it comes to the best metal podcasts in the world, we're in the top 10 at number 10. Yeah, that's nuts. That's awesome. I want that number 1 spot. And on Metalcore, we are at number 2. Yeah, number 2. But I want number 1. We got to make it to the number 1 list to be considered not only the best podcast for metalcore music, but the best podcast for metal music out there as well. And we're going to do it by getting our feature presentation. Thank you, Mr. Cody Frayne from Theoria Records. My God, I mess up a lot of words. Thank you, Mr. Cody Frayne from Theoria Records, for bringing us this band on your label. We have the guys in Execution Day on the podcast. We have Dylan and John with us, a metalcore band out of Pittsburgh. They've got a brand new song called I Know I'll Survive, which is out right now. We not only talk about the origin of the band, but also where I Know I'll Survive came from and how the band focuses in on so many different deep, authentic feelings from what they've gone through and turn them into songs that you can derive positivity from. Plus, brand new album coming out, and when? Ooh, you'll see. You guys ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. Thanks to our friend, Mr. Cody Frayne. You've seen him on the podcast before, with If Not For Me, with Ascent Like Wolves, and with his own record label, Theoria Records. Well, he sends us a lot of great artists, and hell, you know we like to push artists that you might not know, but you should know about, and this is one right here. I believe they're coming from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania with their metalcore style, formed back in 2016. They're starting out 2026 hot with the recently released single, I Know I'll Survive. Yeah, already messing up the words here. And they're going to be touring with The Broken View in April 2026, so you get a chance to be able to go see them live, do it. If you want to discover them, this is where it's going to happen. So please welcome Dylan and John from Execution Day of the podcast. So gentlemen, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
What's up? Thanks for having us, man. We appreciate you.
Thanks for being on, guys. As we kick off 2026, and I'm like a month into this, just how are things going on your end? How's life been treating you?
Life's been rough, but band stuff's been pretty good so far, so can't complain there.
Yeah, kind of the same. Just normal life stuff. But no, band's doing phenomenal.
I hope that, the normal life stuff turns into something that's a little bit better, but at least even when life might not be doing the best, or when, you're in that time of life where it's like things are going well, things are not going well, it's constantly fluctuating. If the band is a thing that's constantly being like a beacon of positivity, that's a huge plus, because you can always go to that and get some sort of positive energy right from it.
Absolutely, man. That's what it's always been for, me personally. I know John's felt the same way. Music has always been that beacon of hope and has always got us through hard times. And, with the band itself, it always seems to pull through to, when we go on tour, get on the road, it just, all things kind of leave the back of your mind. And we're out there to have a good time and put on a good show. So.
Well, in the end, when it comes to music, wouldn't you say that was kind of be the way for anybody that's involved in music in some sort of way, whether it's making music like you guys do, just talking music like I do, or anybody else that's really closely connected to it? It's music is that thing that has brought us so much positivity in life. Maybe when, things were the absolute worst, like never bringing us any kind of positivity. Now we have this just beacon of hope, and it's something that we can always go to, something that just continues to drive us when things are down. It picks us up when we're feeling down. It's something that we feel positive and being ourselves when the rest of the world is trying to have us do something that, I'm not going to say is, against what we want to do, but is just taking us away from that enjoyment of what life should be.
Right. I totally agree. I mean, it just, life, like I said, life can suck at times, but music's always been that thing for me personally that whether it's a band or a song or whatever it may be, just kind of pulls you back in and gets your head back straight and helps you get through all the worst things life can throw at you.
Life can throw as much shit as it wants at you, but it's gonna just It's not about, I think what was it? Rocky was like, it's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, how much you can take and keep moving forward, because that's how you win. It's
Right.
kind of the same thing with life, and you need to have that beacon of hope at certain times, and music is that beacon of hope for a lot of us because of the emotion that it invokes, because of the way it makes us feel, because it makes us feel like someone understands us when we feel like everyone else that's closely around us has no idea of what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. How do you feel, John? Mr.
Oh,
Silence over there.
I'm just taking it all in, my friend. I'm sorry. No, no, that's pretty much, that's always been the message with the band. Like life is tough, and like you can like get through all the down times. Like Hollow's a big advocate of what we like talk about in our lyrics and stuff.
Well, when you take a look at like some of the stuff you guys release as well, releasing an album called Heal in 2023, it kind of fits into that nature. And then even looking at the most recent single, I Know I'll Survive, it inspires some sort of hope. It inspires some sort of betterment of what's going on, because things can be going bad. But if you're actively working on healing yourselves, you can get better. If you're going through something terrible and there doesn't seem like, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but you know that you're going to be able to survive and be able to push forward, you have the confidence in knowing you are going to find that light at the end of the tunnel with whatever situation you're dealing with at that point in time. It seems like it's definitely not only a core theme from the band, but it's something that's also outwardly expressed simply by just what you guys name your songs and name your collections of songs and albums.
Right, yeah, for sure. That's always been with music for me, like bands that have gotten me through stuff. When writing music, and I don't really write songs to try to impress this person or that person. I write music for me and what I would want to listen to. And I always say Execution Day is my favorite band. And I mean, I feel like, we should be if it's, what we really want to do. But the message that we always kind of spread throughout our music is that, like you said about Heal, like the whole oversight of that whole record is about getting better and getting through the worst. And with our new song, I Know I'll Survive, that's kind of the song talks about being crushed under the weight of just of anything, of stress, life, depression. But it's looking through it at the end of the light, at the end of the tunnel. I know I'll survive. I know I'll get through this, and nothing else matters. I know I can do it.
Totally understandable. But of course, when we're talking about music, of course, when we're talking about how, the band has created this identity about self-betterment, about improving yourself and going through some of those moments of trying to get past some of those deeper, darker points in life. And with us also connecting with music in that way of when things aren't going well, it's that beacon of hope, that beacon of positivity we can go on. It feels like for me that the band was specifically formed by you guys to essentially be that beacon of hope for you from the beginning. So this is where this question's going to go. I'm not sure how many people in this audience know who Execution Day is, but I want them to know who Execution Day is. And one of the best ways to do it is to know the story of how Execution Day got formed, what the history is like. So however long or however short you want to make it, I want to know the backstory behind Execution Day, and I'll let you guys take it wherever you want to go with it.
I guess I'll take this question since I'm the founding member. No offense, John. Sorry.
Not
Just have
Um,
John jump in when it's ready. When he's ready to jump, it's like,
yeah,
and this is where
yeah.
John joined the band, and now we go.
So, the origins of the
that's great,
band.
Dylan.
So the
Not
origins of the band started a project that I had shortly after graduating high school. A friend of mine and another friend of ours made a three-piece band. Did kind of like pop punk, easy core music, like Chunk No Captain Chunk, Day to
Mhm.
Remember esque. Um, so from what we learned from doing stuff with that band, it just stayed mostly local. We didn't do anything too crazy with it, but the evolvement from that band, members had left, and we decided to start something fresh, something new, and we wanted to lean in more towards the modern metalcore sound. Um, we got new members, and the original five of us recorded our first EP from the bottom of my heart with Andrew Wade, who's done A Day to Remember, A Ghost Inside, Neck Deep, Wage War. Because we wanted to have a product, have music that stood its own. You know, even if people didn't know who we were, they could listen to our music and be like, "Yo, this is worth listening to." You know, we didn't want to put our time into doing crappy demos or whatever it may
Mhm.
be. We wanted it to be a statement from out the gate. So yeah, 2016 I guess is when we first put our first song out. We Some people think 2015 because out on the internet somewhere floating around it says 2015 is when we formed. I guess that's kind of right, but like our first single was 2016, I believe. So 2016, 2017 we put our first EP out. Followed up by 2020 we did a release, another EP. And shortly after that is whenever John joined the band. Was that like 2020, John, you joined?
Y- Yeah, it was August of 2020 is when I joined. Uh, the EP Illusions just came out.
Yeah, so that was our second EP. We also recorded that with Andrew Wade. But bringing us into kind of like the newer era of Execution Day, with our last record, Heal, we recorded a lot of that with Justin DeBleek,
Mhm.
formerly of Ice Nine Kills. Um, and honestly, that the whole time that we've been a band, um, I've done a lot of the lyric writing and songwriting. And again, bringing back to that like beacon of hope type message that we've always had. I've always wanted it to be where if someone could listen to our music and stuff that we write and put out, and if they can get any sort of positive from it, that's a win in my book. Whether it's this song got me through a hard day, or this
Mhm.
song got me through like dark times, you know, that stuff's there's just that's you can't replace that with anything. There goes John. There he's
No,
back.
he's back.
But
Um,
I don't know what happened. I'm sorry.
Oh
you're
no,
good.
you're good. Trust me, there's a lot of crazier things that have happened on this podcast before than a video cutting out and coming back on.
But yeah, it's if there's any sort of positive that anyone can get from our music is a win in my book. And that really first, I guess, hit home with whenever we released Hollow. Um, that song came out in July of 21, I believe. Yeah, it was
Yeah, July
July
21.
30th of 2021. And that song really meant a lot to me. It wasn't even a song before like we were going to go to the studio in January of 2021, and we had two different songs that we were going to take. And last like 2 weeks before we went to the studio, I was in my room trying to write something, just even just like have fun with it. And in like one night wrote Hollow, wrote like the chorus and everything. And I knew it was special from the get-go. And I presented it to the other guys, and they were like, "Dude, forget this other song. This is what we need to take." So thankfully we did. And that song saw a lot of success. Uh, on TikTok especially is really where it picked up traction. Our boy Jesse Lee, shout out to
Mhm.
him, made a TikTok for us that got like crazy amount of views, like 2 million views or something like that, and a lot
Yeah.
of likes. And it kind of blew up to the point where we saw our numbers on our Spotify app where it says like how many people are listening, and there's like 150 people listening, and we're like something's going on, something's weird, you know, this isn't right, you know. And just this trajectory of that, and then 6 months later we got on Sirius XM on their test drive
Mhm.
with Hollow, and that song really put us, I don't want to say on the map, but like got our name in people's ears. So and that song still kind of stands as like our biggest hit so far. Just the message behind that song about it's very much like anti-suicide, you know, pulling through your darkest
Mhm.
days, and personally about my life changing and evolving into something that I wasn't familiar with, and taking on a new role as a dad and a husband, and stuff that was terrified of, you know, but you just kind of have to keep rolling with the punches. And I think a lot of people just related to it. So it just naturally gained its own organic following and people that related to it. I mean, that kind of takes us up to today in a sense.
Kind of takes us right up to where we are today. But I kind of want to get John's take on this when it came to Hollow releasing, especially with you, being in the band only about a year at that point in time. What did you notice, especially when Hollow released? How did that all really affect where the band was going from your perspective?
From my perspective, it was kind of it wasn't kind of a quick change in a sense, but like I when I joined, I knew this band was special.
Mm.
So I kind of felt like it was going to grow its own legs and be its own thing. Cause how I met Dylan actually was I toured in a different band from him, and then we just kind of stayed friends, and I knew this band was special. So other than that, but like yeah, um from the outside looking in, it just looks like this massive change, but it wasn't as quick as like it could have been
Or as it should have been. Yeah.
or should have been. I'm sorry.
No, 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 you're right. I was just saying, like, it just like on the outside, things can look like, just like for us. Like I'm sure people look at us and think like, oh, they're this huge band. It's like, dude, we're still normal dudes that have day jobs, and John does DoorDash and I do deliver for FedEx, and like at the end of the day, like the music doesn't quite pay the bills yet. It's doing better than it did at the beginning, but we're still just regular dudes just trying to make a living out of it.
I'll say, trust me, I resonate with that all too well. I've been doing this podcast since 2019, and I've always wanted this to be like that thing that I could just do forever, and this would be the thing that would pay the bills. And clearly that isn't, because I was a couple minutes late to this. I was working on or finishing my full-time job in the recycling world. So
Right,
things
right.
definitely are not, the lives working as fast as I believe they could or should. But the key is in that story, especially when it comes to Hollows, I do want to shout out Jesse Lee for that as well, because I know he's got his own podcast, always brings on bigger artists than I think I ever really get at the moment. But the fact of the matter is he's someone that is taking the time and using the platform to promote bands that not only deserve it, but younger bands, so that we're not getting stuck in that, mid 2010s, rock is dead, metal is dead, no one's paying attention to it. Anybody that's going to be promoting those newer artists and getting more and more people that are creating great music into the ears of so many other people, those are people I want to know. Those people I want to support. Those are people I want to get behind. So Jesse, absolutely keep doing stuff like that, because don't worry, I follow you too, man. I see all that stuff. I know what's going on, and you're still doing it. But really, when it comes down to, creating a song that is going to actually hit, it's going to actually have that piece, you're going to have to be able to connect on the emotions of it. And it's clearly you did, with not only connecting with so many people getting on Test Drive, having those Spotify numbers jump up, but when you're talking about like something that's an anti-suicide song, or really going through those scary moments of, being a husband, being a dad, not sure if you're ready for it, but you have to always have that face on like you are ready for it, because not only are the people that you care about depending on you, but they're also looking to you as that beacon of light, or that beacon of positivity, because they could be having a bad day. They could be having a rough time. Even though you're having a rough time as well, they look at you and they feel like everything is going to be okay. It's a lot of weight to hold on your shoulders. It's a lot of, pressure even at the same time too. But when you have that feeling of just, you know what you're doing, but you're able to find some sort of positivity and find some sort of continued drive in it, and even having music as that piece that kind of just have you emotionally connected to continue that drive, then you can still be that person for your family. You can be that person for the people closely around you that is, when they're having a bad day, they can look at you and they can find that positivity. But the most powerful thing is for yourself, you can look within your own self and find that positivity too.
Right, absolutely. And that's just, I mean, that's always been our most relatable related thing that people could find with our music. A lot of our um and again, I write songs that are based on real life things I'm going through, lyrics especially. And a lot of this new record, out of the four singles we've put out so far with it, is a lot of like heartbreak, I guess you relate. Um, like I'm personally going through a divorce, and that's again another curveball that life just throws at you, and it's like you're blindsided by it, but I mean you have to keep your
Mm-hmm.
sanity and keep driving forward, especially for my family and my kids, and um, so like I know I'll survive. It revolves heavily around that, being crushed by the weight of this immense outside being that you have no control over, but pushing through, and just doing the best you can, because that's all you can do is just do the best you can.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes that's all you can do is the best you can. And I do like the fact that with this new record, with the songs you put out, you are taking from personal experience, and artists do always take from personal experience. But the key is driving from that and creating that authentic thing that's not only going to be useful for you specifically, because this is your art. If you're using it as a way to not only go through and process all of the things you're dealing with, not only from your own personal self, but also for the other members of the band as well, when you're creating something like this, it also allows you to, create something that's going to be more connective, and it's going to have that authentic place behind it because you're going through it. I think of a band like Beartooth, where from their first 4 albums, I mean, it's heavier. There's a lot of darker content behind there because of what Caleb Shoma was going through mentally at that time. But you listen to The Surface from 2023, and it's like a whole different outlook on life. Like, he finally found peace. He's happy. He's in a different place in life. And even though that record didn't have the same bite or the same aggression I always wanted it to have, why am I continuing to listen to it almost 3 years later? Why am I still happily connecting with it? And it's because that positivity behind it is so authentic. It's because it's something that you actually feel, you actually believe, and you actually can translate it into yourself and drive off of it. So when people are listening to stuff like what you guys are putting out right now, it's, if you're going through something like that, you can connect with it. If you've gone through something like that, you can connect with it. If you've gone through a rough time where things seemed like they were dark and you had to keep pushing forward, finding that positivity and just finding that way through it, people are going to connect with that on every aspect because you're being authentically telling that. You're authentically putting it out there, and we're going to connect as audiences with authenticity more than just, the standard pop song that pops off, for 2 months in the course of a year and then is never heard from again.
Right. Yeah. And who knows? Maybe one day we can write a happy record like Beartooth did. Maybe one day me and John will find peace with ourselves and we're like, you know what? Let's write a happy record. That's what we're gonna do.
LP3, baby.
LP3. Maybe that'll be the record that we put out after we find some success and can do this full time. We'll be a little bit happier, maybe. I don't know.
We'll see.
Let's hope, to be honest with you, because I would love to see LP3 all of a sudden be, just from Execution Day, a complete 180 in terms of not necessarily message, because the message is still going to be the same, but it's kind of like the next progression of the story.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy as it is. Like, so we just finished. This would be LP2, I guess. Mm-hmm. Technically, we just finished tracking vocals and getting all that wrapped up like 2 weeks ago. So now we're just waiting for mixes and masters, and then we'll get all that stuff, finalized and everything. But it's so weird because you build up to this point, and you're like, we're so excited to get this record out. We feel like this is like the best stuff we've ever written. But there's still times that me and John are like, well, next record, So it's as much as like there's times where we're like, let's just throw the towel in. Let's, this is going nowhere. We see progression every year, bigger numbers, more people listening to us, and it's hard to give up whenever you see the positives from it. Like, oh, the Spotify Wrapped came out this year, and we had 100,000 more people listen to us this past year than the year prior, and we had 1 million more streams. And and I feel like next year, the way we're progressing right now, we're going to see those numbers grow more. And it's like LP3, we're going to,
LP3. I mean, it's easy to like want to give up because that feeling is easy to feed into. But then you see like Spotify Wrapped, even though numbers aren't everything, I mean, it does give you a good boost of serotonin.
For sure.
Numbers aren't everything, but numbers can be used, like, especially when it comes to an emotional side of things, numbers can be used properly and to enhance that, because it's been the same way with this podcast too, where it's like, okay, I'm not making nearly as much money off this as I wanted to. No, it doesn't seem like I'm anywhere close. That I should throw in the towel at some point in time. And then all of a sudden I see the numbers and I'm like, I'm still doing better than I was the previous year. And my overall like spend on ads, spend on any kind of like boosted posts or anything like that, I cut that down to like a third of what I was the previous year. So okay, something's clearly working. And then am I still enjoying doing this? well, I'm not going to lie. There's aspects of doing this that I don't enjoy. It's a lot of the technical stuff, like, okay, all the editing and then all like the extra content creation. But then I think, well, what's my favorite part about doing this? It's literally this. It's what we're doing right now. I look forward to this every single day. I get to do this with whatever artist I get to do this with, because you never know where it's going to go. It's something that drives me throughout the day. And it's that type of positivity when I see the numbers. Now it's like, okay, there's a quantifiable thing that I can actually see of how that progression is going. And like you said, John, that boost of serotonin, it just prevents you from feeding into the negativity, which you said is so easy to do. 100% agree on that.
Yeah, it's always easy to feed into negative thoughts because there's so much negativity. And it's just easy to feed into it. But it's also easy to look at the brighter things and stuff like that. That's also one thing I learned from my therapist, so that's sick.
And John's Mr. Negativity. I mean, he's doing better. He's doing better. This past year for him, he's seen a lot of personal growth, so I'll give it to him. But it's so no problem. But yeah, it's like it is numbers and everything, but that's just your gauge. That's the only way that, I mean, besides us going to shows and playing shows and seeing like, oh, dude, last time we played here, there was 20 people here. Now there's 40, now next time we play there, it could be 80, that's how you gauge it without being out on the road. Your numbers on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, whatever, like that is how you gauge it. And doesn't mean, that you're better than this artist that has less, or that this artist has more that's better than you. We're all on the same team. It's not a competition. Just like with podcasts, like it's not, I'm sure it's easy to say like, oh, well, they got Caleb Shoma on their podcast. They got Eric from I Prevail. Like, but so there could be some day that people look back on this one and like it pops off because like, oh, Execution Day was on, this is one of the only podcasts they've done.
Hey, that'd be kind of cool if all of a sudden you guys popped off and then it's just, hey, where's the episode we can find out about him? Where's the place we can find out about him? And then every article is like, well, we got this from their Turn on the Chord Progression podcast back in 2026, and it's already, now let's go here. And then you realize that there's a whole bunch of other artists that you may have never heard of that you can find out everything about and really get connected with on a different level on this podcast than you can really anywhere else. I mean, that's always was the hope, and that's still kind of the drive behind it, where will I bring on bigger artists if I can? And then if I want to, absolutely. I want to be able to talk with those. I want to be able to talk with the artists that I've always wanted to talk with. But I also want to talk with the younger artists as well, the newer ones, the ones that people don't really know about, because how else we can continue to grow this music scene and grow this overall positivity we feel from the music if we're not sharing all this music with everybody else, or sharing what is new and what is up and coming. Because for the longest time, we heard rock is dead, metal is dead, and we never saw really, using festivals as my gauge, like the headliners of those festivals, we never really saw a progression of newer artists taking over for the likes of like Slipknot, Korn, Disturbed, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Metallica. But now all of a sudden we're seeing Bring Me the Horizon, we're seeing Bad Omens, we're seeing Sleep Token headline. Hell, you look at the Incarceration lineup this year, Gojira's headlining. I know Gojira's been around for a while, but who would have thought like 2 years ago at this time, this is before the Olympics, that Gojira would headline a festival in America?
Right.
Gojira rules, though.
Yeah, they do. Oh, yeah, they do. But it just kind of stands out again as like that beacon of hope, that beacon of light, that beacon of positivity. And I understand with numbers too, it's the quantifiable way. It's an easy metric way, because numbers will tell the truth. It's, if you had 40 people at a show 1 year, and then the previous year you only had 20, now you see that growth, that you could quantify it. But at certain times too, it's, when it comes to numbers, you don't really see the real value behind them in terms of impact based on face value, because you could have 40 people in the audience and another band could have 20 people in the audience, but those 40 people in the audience might be there for another band that's on the bill. But the 20 people at the other show, they're there for the band that's on the bill, and they are so heavily engrossed in it that, okay, maybe that 20 is more important than that 40, because if you guys went on your own, maybe you wouldn't draw as much. I'm just using that as an example. I hope it's, the other way around, where it's you're drawing 40 for your guys' self, and the next year you're getting 80, then 160, then 320. Right. What it's after that, 640. I should keep going, but I don't want to do math anymore.
Yeah,
that's fine. I'm also terrible at math. It's fine.
I can't do math either, so.
I work in recycling. I work in data. I have to know how to do math, but sometimes me know math too well.
Yeah.
Who needs it?
Yeah, who needs it? Who needs numbers? To be honest with you,
I know we don't. I mean, we just play guitar and scream into microphones. That's all we do. So.
And then we just see how their actions just take care of the numbers themselves. But one thing I also want to do is, again, with the brand new song "I Know I'll Survive" that just recently came out, I want to dive into this with you guys. I really want to get to know more about it. And I know, Dylan, what you said about, you're losing yourself in whatever is going on in life. And I even think I looked at it a little bit more deeper in the meaning, maybe a little bit more into it. And it said, tell a story of losing yourself in a failing relationship and the painful struggle to rebuild your identity after the fact. And it kind of goes to what we talked about earlier too. And it's perfect for that. It's things aren't going right. You're kind of lost and you just don't know where to go. And you're trying to find yourself once again, but by having that mental capacity, that mental mantra of I know I'll survive, it keeps you going to get to that point and not get lost along the way.
Yeah, definitely. And I see you did your research. That's good. Yeah, it's always hard. Like Cody from the label will ask us, oh, hey, can you do a write up about this song and what it's about? It's I in my head I know exactly what it's about, but it's hard to put it onto paper and say, because music is subjective. John could listen to a song and get something completely different out of it from what you could get out of it listen to a song, and that's one thing I love about music is it's all subjective. It's all, I think this artist is terrible, but John loves them, and vice versa. It's not good or bad in any retrospect. It's all personal opinion. But yeah, so I mean, for me personally, writing the lyrics around "I Know I'll Survive" is about a failing relationship, and that you've invested so much into that thing that's engulfed your life so long that you don't know who you are on the other side of it. So the fact that things fall apart around you, it really it makes it hard to put your feet back on the ground and say oh, this is who I am. This is who I've always been. It's just been, sheltered or shut away. Yeah, I know I'll survive. Definitely, again, for me, has helped me a lot. And I know it's probably weird to people to hear him say oh, his own song helped him. But there's times I'll write music and I don't know why I'm writing the lyrics I'm writing, because again, it's still personal, but there's times I'm I don't really know why I'm writing about this failing relationship. At the time, the marriage I was in wasn't perfect. Any marriage isn't perfect, but of looking at it 6 months down the road now, and it's well, this song has helped me immensely, more than I could have ever imagined. Talking about the crushing anxiety and depression from feeling helpless in an environment that you feel like you're doing your best and it's still not working, not helping. And I listen to that song all the time, even though it's our own song. Again, Execution Day is my favorite band because I write lyrics or music that I want to listen to. So I mean, if I don't like my own music, then why am I doing it? I shouldn't expect someone else to like it if I don't. So yeah, I mean, the song for me has helped me a lot, and I'm hoping that anyone that else is going through that, maybe not specifically that same thing, but any sort of heartbreak or hard time with feeling like you're helpless and lost and depressed, hopefully it can help them through that too.
Oh, I totally can understand that. And even if you're not going through something like that actively, because I'll be honest with you, it doesn't feel like I'm really going through something like that actively right now. But for a song like this and with that kind of a message, what you're able to do in that capacity as a listener is go back to a time in the past where When did that actually happen to you? Because I can guarantee that happened to you at some point in time. I mean, Dylan, you're writing the song because you're actually going through it. John, I can also probably assume that you've gone through something where, you felt lost and you're trying to really rebuild that identity of yourself and trying to figure out where you stand and where you're going to continue to go. I felt that too. And this is where the song took me back to that moment in time where, I was like, lost, had no idea where I was going, pretty depressed at that point in time too. But just that kind of a song and having that mantra of I know I'll survive kind of took me back to this would have been 2017, I think September 2017. I went to go see my favorite band live because in a relationship that I was in, the girl and I liked the same band, and I did not want to go see the band live again because, there was those negative feelings. But I'm like, I got to go take them back for my own sanity because I can't just keep listening to the new album because it's the only one I don't have like an emotional connection to her connected to the band. So I go and see them. It's Rise Against. And by the end of the show, all I'm thinking about is I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen to me. I feel like things are still going to get worse. But I have this band back. I have them back finally. And it was that feeling of knowing that things might get worse, but I have this one thing I can continue to hold on that I know is genuinely me and can start to try and build off of that and always go back to it as like square one if I'm ever lost. That's where the song really connected with me because I could kind of relive that moment once again with how you constructed it based on some of the instances that I really want to kind of go over, because the way the song was constructed, it evokes that weird positive feeling in a nostalgic way to try and find yourself once again. It's honestly really cool.
Yeah, and so we recorded this song, I Know I'll Survive, and the title track of the album, which we haven't announced yet. But we wrote both of these songs with Jonathan DeLeese down in Nashville, and he's done what's some of the records he's done, John, recently. Downswing, he did their new record.
Oh. He did People Watching from 156 Silence. He did Hollywood Undead.
He's done some other stuff coming up, yeah.
He
He's
did
working on
Chiodos.
the new re-recorded Chiodos record. Chelsea Grin, I think he's doing stuff with or did. It's coming out soon. So, I mean, this dude's like, he's like our age. Like, he's younger than me. I'm 32, and he's like 28 or 29.
He's younger than me. What the fuck?
Right. And dude, he's been producing since he's been like 15 or something. He said, like, super young. Like, he just started doing it, and I guess last year was like his busiest and best year when it came to producing. Cody actually like recommended him to us from the label Cody Frame. He's like, I have this guy, Jonathan DeLeese, that he'd be interested in like recording you guys, and he has like a pretty good clientele, and he's building himself up. And we're like, yeah, let's go do it. We bust out a couple songs. Totally like blew us out of the water, like blew us away with how genuine that dude was, for one. And like it's out of his house, like it's in his condo, like his studio room, and has housing for the bands, and we just hung out in Nashville for a week and busted out a couple sick songs. Like, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
And we wrote these songs from scratch. Like, traditionally for the last 3 records, we go to the studio and we have all these demos. Let's do all these demos. And we really wanted to make this experience unique, and we're glad he was on board with it too. He's like, so what are we doing demos, or are we like writing from scratch? We're like, no, dude, let's write something just completely take the vibes where they go, And he was like, what kind of vibe are we going for this song? This one specifically, I Know I'll Survive. I was like, I specifically said I want something that's energetic, like upbeat and just dancey almost. And dude, like, nailed it with the chorus. And then we wrote the lyrics, dancing in the light. Like, that just kind of perfectly brought like what I wanted to the table specifically for myself. And like, I remember saying to him, let's make it like heavy but catchy and dancey and all those things. And like, this dude just like on his computers like picked up a guitar and tracked some stuff. He's like, how do you feel about this? And we're like, dude, it's crazy. Like, we knocked out instrumentally 2 songs in like 2 days. Like, it was just crazy. Like, the dude's a wizard. And like, you're gonna see his name a lot more, I think, in the coming couple years. Like, he's gonna be doing some big bands.
God damn, because you guys are just running through the albums that you did. You're bringing up Downswing and 156 Sounds. And I'm just like, I've interviewed those guys. I interviewed them on those records, and I love those records. This is great. No wonder why this makes sense. And especially doing what you're kind of bringing up with, you want it to still be heavy, especially in that metalcore style, but having more of that like catchy and dancier vibe. I honestly was thinking like this was honestly the way to go on this song. And the reason I say that is because especially right when the song opens up, because it has that up-tempo style of metalcore with a little bit more of like that techno style influence that really creates that dancey vibe in the background throughout the entire song. And what I loved about it so much is because you're kind of bringing that callback back to like that late 2010s metalcore style that I think you guys really kind of formed off of, especially forming like 2015, 2016. It shows that callback to like a time previously where you may have felt like yourself. You may have felt that comfort in trying to find that self once again. But then that techno, more dancey programming that was in there to enhance it, it created this feeling like, you know, of a further back time. You know, maybe you're in like in a club or something, just kind of hanging out, and you're just seeing all these people doing all these different things, and you have this uneasy feeling of like, why am I here? Am I just here to, you know, drink with my friends? Am I here to try and get girls and potentially probably most likely fail, especially if you were me? But it's just you don't feel like yourself in that moment. And I love the differentiating piece of it because it's different than like a song like Static by Sleep Theory, which takes some of that heavier and dancier vibes and puts it together. That one I thought had much more of like this upbeat, more happy tempo that you wanted to be a part of. This felt like, you know, you're in a place that you're trying to find yourself, but you're consistently lost because the environment around you has everything against what you actually are truly inside or what you're trying to find from yourself. It's like you're trying to find that one piece to start to break free when all you really have is that true inner self, and there's really nothing in the surrounding area that can help you break from that or break out into that, I should say.
Yeah, you kind of nailed it with that, honestly. Like, bringing up like it's a callback to like early 2010s, like metalcore and like who you were back then. Like that's a very good way of putting it. You know, obviously in the course of the 10 years that this band has been a thing, people change, people go through a lot of different seasons in their life. Um, I know just even in the last like 5 years, like with COVID and all the stuff that's
Mhm.
gone on with that, like it feels like a whole different lifetime ago. But yeah, I just really, I remember specifically wanting this song to just have that at the end of the song, it is a positive outlook. There's lyric, um, I guess what's the word I'm looking for? Like lyric building, like of
Mhm.
environment, a scene of like, you know, the first lyrics, it's crushing me under the weight of 1,000 suns. Uh, Stuff like that is
Mhm.
dark and kind of like, you know, I don't know what this is, but like at the end of the song, it is a pull through of like, you got this, like pull yourself up and push through. And yeah, rediscovering your identity is a huge part of it.
It is a huge part of it. You can feel that in the chorus too, because I'm even looking at it's like when the chorus hits after, it's like there's a void in the pre-chorus to kind of create that transition. I wrote there's this heightened sense of tone and pitch in the clean vocals and the slightly up-tempo style metalcore with that higher pitch techno backing make it feel like, you know, you're in the middle of a dance floor and you have no idea what's like, where am I? And you're trying to call out like, this is not who I am. Like I'm some, like you feel like you know who you are inside, and everything outside is against you because no one's listening, no one's caring, and there's really no way to find that positivity to basically have your inner self like grab onto it and pull itself back out or pull itself into the forefront. So it had that feeling again of just being in a space where internally you just don't feel comfortable to break out and you're just trying to find that one space to go to. It really has an interesting feel to it overall, but in the end, again, I still think it creates that like scope of having that dancier feel, especially with a heavier style song, and not having it be something that's just, you know, as I would say, inviting to just enjoy the vibes of and just kind of just get lost in and enjoy. There's something so much more in depth here that if you didn't have that dancier vibe to it, that depth might be more enhanced in a different way. but the feeling of, being lost and trying to find that back way to your inner self and for your inner self to come back out again, that feeling would be completely gone. And that was what was needed here. So, goddamn. I'll say, as you guys were working on it, John, when you guys were working on the song, how did you feel about this whole entire thing?
I was really impressed by Jonathan DeLeeste's writing and just producing, because we went in there with nothing, and he just was like, I'm just gonna go to work on this, and yeah, we'll just take it where it goes. And the dude really was a wizard. Like he kind of knew in his head what he wanted, even though it was nothing. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was definitely an experience for sure.
Foreshadowing, LP3 we've discussed is going to be very much done by Jonathan. He doesn't know it yet, but he's going to produce our next record. So,
well, if he listens to this, he's going to know.
Right, true.
Which I hope he does. That'd be sick. But we'll see what happens.
He's such a cool dude, like super down to earth, super chill.
But that's another thing that you guys have now found that not many other acts really do, or other artists really do, where you find a producer that can kind of live as another member of the band and bring forward different aspects or connect with your music in a way that allows it to be enhanced. And you brought up other producers you worked with as well, like Andrew Wade. You brought up Justin DeBleek as well. I've actually had Justin on the podcast before as a producer to kind of talk through what he does. And I was just like, God damn, now I understand what happens. But again, you have to, even if it's someone that, personally, I'm like, I love these guys as producers. I love talking to these people, but it also depends upon the connection between the producer and the artist themselves, or the producer and the band themselves as well, of what's going to enhance. So you could be working with the best producer, but if it's not that full connection there, then okay, might not work. And the songs might be great, but it just wasn't as the best as it possibly could be. But with what you guys found now, it's just like, holy shit, keep this rolling, keep this going, because if he's able to kind of get into your heads as well and kind of, all right, let's see where you guys want to go with this and understand where the songs are going. Now you have someone in your corner that's going to take it in these songs maybe in a different direction than you would expect, but it's the direction that you need to go for them to absolutely hit the way you need them to.
Right, absolutely. And fun fact, Justin did produce our second single on this record, Serotonin Serenade. We wanted to go back to him, but he was booked up for like the entire year doing Motionless in White's new record.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We got him for like a day or two. I don't remember when it was, but like we got him for 2 days, virtual writing and stuff. And thankfully we did, because I love that dude. We got to be really close with him, and I'd love to have just even some sessions with him again in the future. But yeah, it was unfortunate, but I mean, also things work out the way they work out. Everything's happens for a reason. And there's a reason we went to Jonathan, and we really meshed with him. And definitely, like I said, he's going to be producing the next record. So
there you go. LP2 still has yet to come out, and they're already going to have him produce LP3. But speaking of LP2, when can we expect that? And I know you might not have a specific date or even have a name for the LP yet, but any little bit of teaser, that's what I'm looking for.
You're up, John.
Oh, thank you, Master Knively. No, tentatively, the record's going to come out this summer. We do have a name for it, but we're going to keep that a secret.
But you'll find the name out relatively soon.
Yeah, relatively soon. You'll get
like
a
6 weeks or so.
Okay. My main reason for asking that question is because usually on these, like for the videos for YouTube, I'll always have us on the middle. I'll have my banner up top, and on the bottom, I'll always have the name of the band and then something else to add to it. Of course, if there's LP2, I'm like, if there's a name for it already, great. If there's not a name for it, or not a name that's going to be announced by the time the episode releases, well, don't really want to spoil it if it's something that you guys are working hard on, so I can just put LP2 set to be releasing this summer, tentatively.
Right, yeah. And I think we're gonna hit that pretty spot on with the summer, which I've always wanted, like a earlier
Hmm.
summer release. Like we've released out like I think our first two EPs were released in like August or so, which is like still like a summer thing. But like
Yeah.
I remember like Warped Tour days, like bands would put out those records in like May or June, like right before Warped Tour come out, and then you just go see them performing that new record with those new songs. It was just like a whole thing, I just had to kind of
Yeah.
be there type thing. And like MGK, whenever he released, I think it was his maybe his last record he put out. Like he just like remember him saying like he wanted like that summer record, because
Yeah.
the vibes are different summer compared to like releasing it in January. Like what's going on in January? Everyone's boarded up in their houses because it's cold out. But
Yeah, because usually we
um,
were seeing people release like for music. The heavy release dates I usually see are like February because it's like okay, let's get out something to start the year off right, so you can go into the spring touring with a brand new record. May is also usually a hot month. July and August usually have a consistent amount as well, and then October for some reason is always massive for releases.
right,
Thankfully,
yeah,
right now we're recording this right at the end of January, going into February. I'm like, ooh, more new music finally because that like late December, January period, I'm like, I need me some more stuff, guys. Come on.
yeah. The holidays definitely throw that off because that was like we were originally, I think, gonna try to release "I Know I'll Survive" in like December ish,
Hmm.
but we did a
Yeah.
feature. We did a feature with Soft Spoken that it came out in like November, I think. And so we were like, let's just let that carry us through December and then we'll shoot for January, beginning of the year, start
Hmm.
off right on the right foot with a new song. And yeah, I definitely think that the holidays just throw everything off with music and everything like that.
Yeah, they definitely do. But now we're on to 2026, back to new music, more tours coming up, which you already mentioned. So 2026 is gonna be a fun year for Execution Day. But before we wrap this episode up, I got one last question to ask you guys. And I love asking this question because not only does it allow myself and all the fans of the Chord Progression Podcast and all listeners to get to know more great new music like we're getting to know with you guys here, but also gets you guys to support the music that you love. Now, between the two of you, total, I'm going to ask for 3 because otherwise, if I ask for more, God, we could be here all night. But between the two of you, can you guys name me 3 bands or artists that you love that you would love to see more people get into right now?
You're up, John.
Counterparts.
That's one.
That's one.
Oh, I thought we were gonna go back and forth.
Yeah, you can
No,
go
no,
back
no,
and
you
forth,
go.
or he's just going to let
Okay.
you go through the whole thing, whatever.
All right. So counterparts, 156 Silence, because they are awesome. I love 156 Silence. And I don't know. I guess my last one would be just because I'm looking at a sticker right now. Heavy, heavy, low, low.
Heavy, heavy Lolo. I swear, the first time I ever heard of that band was earlier today because I'm like, why does that name sound so familiar?
They're like they're like a noise grindcore band from like 2000, and like they're crazy, but yeah, they're very underrated. But so yeah, heavy, heavy, low, low.
All right, we got 3 from John. I asked for 3. Actually, we'll break the rules, Dylan. If you have any you want to throw in there, feel free.
It sucks because, like, I don't know. A lot of bands I listen to are already like, I hate whenever you see posts and like, there's like an Octane group on Facebook that I'm on, and people are like, what are some more bands that need recognition? And people will post like, oh, Architects, or like, and it's like, dude, these bands are already playing arenas.
Yeah, I know.
How much more recognition do you want them to get?
I
No,
think
like,
you
I
and I
love
might be part of the
Architects, but
same Octane group then because I see all that same shit
yeah,
too.
dude, like, and like the other week, like we got mentioned in a post, and I'm like, what?
Link,
You know?
Lincoln Park, they're so underrated.
Yeah, right. That was one. That was one we saw too. And I don't know if that dude was rage baiting or what, but like he definitely got me raged up. So,
You were
one,
so pissed.
I know. I was like, dude, like Lincoln Park has been the
Yeah.
biggest rock band for the last 20, 25 years. Like, come on. One that I gotta mention for sure is our friends in If Not For Me. And those dudes are on the come up for sure. But like their new song Retrograde, me and John, like I always sing it to him. We'll be in a phone call and just like it's like my vocal stem at this point. I'll see you on the other side. Boop, boop. It's just so good. we actually, a lot of this record we did with Hayden from If Not For Me, the guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
He does producing and stuff. And we love that dude. John loves that dude a lot for sure.
I love
Um
him.
If Not For Me though, they're already on the come up, but like
Mm-hmm.
I definitely see those dudes being a lot more well known. And like I don't know if I'm pretty sure they're gonna be putting a record out this year. Like if they're putting out a single, with Retrograde just came out, like they'll be putting out a record and probably doing like a headlining tour, I would imagine. And I just think that they're really going to be one of those bands that are going to be very well known, much like Sleep Theory, Bad
Mm-hmm.
Omens. Like they're going to be up there for sure.
I would assume so, because I had to look this up, because If Not For Me, every time I've had them on, they've been on a different record label, because the first time I had them on, it was just with Patrick, and they were on the same label you guys are with Theoria, and then all of a sudden they got jumped to In Vogue, and I had them on. I had all the guys on, Patrick, Cody, Hayden. I had all the guys on. And then when they
Right.
released their record back in 2024, they were put on they put on
Thriller.
Thriller. I'm like, I can't believe I messed that up. But when they got put on Thriller, it was like, all right, Patrick and Cody, you guys are coming right on back.
Right.
So with the new
Yeah.
record, I'm like, are they gonna be on a new label again, or was it gonna be? But if there's a new record on, I can guarantee you that they'll be back here.
Yeah, for sure. And there's like obviously since Cody's like the owner of the label, like we've known Cody now for years and years, and we did a run with If Not For Me before they blew up, like, and we've known of them since like when they first started. We were both playing awful clubs that are nobody comes to their shows and our shows, like, but yeah, it's just awesome to see someone that's worked so hard finally get recognition in that sense.
Yeah, it's always nice, and I love seeing that shout out as well. Because honestly, if I would get afraid too, because if someone's gonna be like, "Well, who would you shout out?" I'm like, "How much time do we want to spend on this?" Because, or if I ever get put on another podcast, I think someone actually did ask me that question one time. I'm like, "Oh shit!" They're like, "You don't know who to say." I'm like, "There's like 30 bands in my head right now, and you're gonna make me limit it to 3."
Right, yeah.
I'm gonna have to like put every single band I've ever had in the podcast into like a randomizer and just hit like show me 3. Hit the button and all of a sudden, okay, here's the 3 and here's all about them. Only thing I'd be too afraid of is like if I had one on back when I had like 2019, 2020 when I started really doing this, like, do I remember any of these?
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
But hey guys, I want to thank you for taking the time once again to be on the podcast. I really appreciate it. We're going to close this episode out with 3 things. So first things first, guys, this is Execution Day. We have Dylan and John here with us. They spoke about the music. They spoke about the brand new single I Know I Survive, which is out right now. And they spoke about LP2, which is tentatively coming out sometime in 2026, tentatively this summer. So the best thing to do when it comes to getting to Execution Day and, knowing when the LP is going to drop, seeing him on tour with the Broken View in April 2026 is go script of the podcast below where it says find Execution Day online. Links labels are going to be there for everything when it comes to social media, where you can watch the music videos, where you can stream music, where you can get ready for the EP release, where you can go check them out at a live show, and of course get some merch as well. All down in the description below, so go and find all that stuff. It's one click, one tap. I label everything. I'm doing all the research for you, so the least you can do is go and follow them at least on one other pages. But go and listen to music. Trust me, you're going to want to. Now it's time for number 2. Whenever I'm guesting the podcast or enjoying the podcast, I tend to make a certain promise as a way to say, hey, thank you guys. I appreciate you for coming on, and I wish you continue to support the band in the future, and this is how we're going to do it. When I get to see you perform live for the first time, remember, it's when, because that implies it's going to happen. We just don't have a day or time yet. But when that day happens, I will come and find you guys. I'll come and say hello to you guys. But that's not the promise. The promise is first round's on me.
It's sick.
And do I make good on that promise? Ask Cody, because I've done this with him before, and I still owe him like 2 more because he's been on. I think I've gotten first round for him twice. He's been on the podcast like 4 times, 5 times. So I owe him a lot still.
Right.
That man could
Shout out Cody Frayne.
Yeah, Cody Frank could bankrupt me if I wanted to. So could be if not for me, guys, at this point in time. But you guys are well on your way to that already starting. We just got to make sure we see you play live. But now it's on to number 3. I cannot end this by saying goodbye. That is way too final because I have to make good on that promise. Plus, hey, LP2 is coming out. Maybe we run this back right before LP2 comes out and get more people into it. How about that?
Down for it, brother.
Sounds good.
I'll just have to tell Cody that because he'll remember too. But As we bring this conclusion, this cannot be goodbye. That's way too final. So we'll end it by saying, I'll see you later.
I appreciate you having us, brother.
Thank you.
Well, folks, I'm my interview with Dylan and John from the band Execution Day. Now it's time for Kevin's final thought. You know, one thing that really stood out to me was, you know, we're talking about them bringing up a lot of different heavier topics, you know, a failed relationship, losing yourself and trying to find your identity, talking about, you know, their song Hollow, talking about anti-suicide, and talking about the struggles that you go through when, you know, you're with somebody and you're about to become a parent, and you have to be that like a beacon of hope for people. You have to be that positive light for people when internally you have no idea what's going on. You're struggling. It's a tough thing to deal with. Don't get me wrong. And I love the fact that they're being authentic about it, because they're bringing forward emotions that are heavier, but they're also doing it in a way where it evokes some sort of positive message, not only for the band, but for us as well. Listening to I Know I'll Survive, like I said, it took me back to 2017 when I was completely lost, and it was something where I was questioning who I was. Like, where was that real me? I had no idea where it was after a breakup and after jumping into the corporate world and thinking that this was the end of like life as I should be enjoying it. Now it's going to be boring. But going to that Rise Against show in 2017 at JJO Sonic Boomfest, it was something where I finally felt like me again. And I knew that stuff was going to get worse in the world. Stuff was going to get worse in life as the year went on. But I knew that I always had something to go back to, which was Rise Against. And listening to I Will Survive, like, it brought back that emotion of feeling, you know, I feel like everything around me just doesn't get it, or I can't find that beacon of hope. But now I finally found that one piece that I can have that true me kind of, you know, pull back on and come back out once again. And clearly it did. I mean, I've been doing this podcast since 2019. We're still rolling strong. We're still going at it. And I think that with how they write it, it evokes that emotion of positivity once again in a world where, you know, even when in the darkest darks, we need to find that small light to grow and become positive again. I want to thank the guys for joining us today when it comes to Execution Day. Go subscribe to the podcast below. Links, labels are there for everything. Where to find them online for social media, where to watch music videos, where to listen to music, where to find the new LP when it comes out, where to go see and play live with the Broken View in April of 2026, and of course, where to go get some merch as well. Please also follow along with us on the Chord Progression Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Links to the podcast below. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, which is right down here. If you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, hit that subscribe or follow button. Always do that, because it's going to help you make sure you know all the great new music that's coming out and all the great bands that are out there in 2026. Please also like this episode, because it helps push in the algorithm, and leave a comment. What'd you think about this? When it comes to listening to music that has that deep, authentic feeling of, you know, really going deep into some topics. Do you like it when they talk about more of a real raw sense of what they're feeling, or do you like the, you know, beacon of hope, positivity side of things? Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but let's hear it. I want to thank you guys for listening, watching, being with us, and that's going to be thank you for listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one. Episode, big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah!